Hi and welcome to the Studio Macro Primeau. Today we continue our series of mixing a song, and this will be the mastering phase. Before we begin, let's talk about what mastering is. So you recorded some music, so put a mic, hit record, that's the recording phase. After that you got many tracks, or maybe just one, and you worked on it to remove some problems and make it sound good. So if you did put all your energy to make your mix good, why mastering is suitable or not for your music? That's a good question. The thing is, originally mastering was all about making the album sound good from the beginning to the end, so the volumes won't really change, or EQing or stuff like that. And of course, the master engineering would refer to other music. So if you listen to a big system, you don't want to stand up and change the volume or change the EQ or on your audio system. Of course, today everything is wireless, but at the time that was the primary goal. And of course also to send to the radios, so people won't have to remix or remaster the audio when an album comes in. Of course, there was a phase that mastering was a bit tricky because people wanted to be noticed, and they started to push the gains and the compression so their volume was a lot higher than others. So if you add a playlist and you come upon one of those songs, it would jump at you like publicity at the TV. But this has ended a few years ago with the streaming platforms, which has an algorithm that analyzes the sound, and if you did compress your music too much and put it too loud, your music will go down in volume, and actually will go down a lot lower than other musics, because it's a summing of all the peaks and the volume of your song that is calculated. And the new metering tool is called LUFS, and we'll see that a bit later in the mastering phase. So now you have a better understanding of what mastering is. It's all about frequencies, volumes, and consistencies between songs and what is available on the market. Of course, we are working on only one song today, but I will give you some tips what to do if it was an album with 12 or more songs. So let's dive in right away. Alright, before I start the mastering, the first thing that I like to do is to change the workspace for mastering. It adds some tools to make CDs, auto markers and stuff like that. So we're gonna create the project now, and we're gonna call it mastering, and put it in the right folder. That's okay. Right here. And I'm keeping 96 kilohertz because that's the sample rate I used while mixing. And for the project template, I did choose only 2 tracks, 2 aux. We don't need much more than that. All right, next step is to load the song. Import, load. And I did export a file from the mixing, and what I did is I removed the limiter on the master channel, so now the level should be a bit lower, but I like to do all the final processing on the mix into the mastering phase, so that's why. So let's open it. Let's go. All right, here's our song. If we add many songs, before importing the songs, I would go in and choose CD arrange mode. So while I am importing the song, the software will add 2 seconds between each songs automatically. So that's a good thing to do. And of course, before we start to master, I'm gonna check the beginning and the end of the song. There's a bit of silence there. I'm gonna remove. I always leave a bit of space before the first sound. Some CD player takes time to go from the index to the file itself, so that's good to have a few milliseconds there. And at the end, we're gonna listen to it. Okay, so it's a bit long. I'm gonna do a fade out here. All right, that's good. One tip that you can try if you are using Samplitude Pro and you want to go fast on your mastering, you can use the object editor, and you can use the normalize button on each song, so the volumes will be closer together. And after that, you can even load an EQ on each and make them sound a bit closer together. And after that, on the master channel, you can do general things to the whole album. So that's a way to go faster when mastering if you don't have a lot of time or budget. But now we're only working with one song. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna load the mixer, and the preset that I use added a lot of tools on the master channel. I'm gonna remove them. There we go. And what I like to use is Ozone, which includes a lot of tools. Like this. For the final levels, I like to use FabFilter Pro L2, which include LUFS meter, which is the new way of calculating the levels. You see they give you guides either for CD streaming or TV and movies. I know that the output will go to streaming, so I'm gonna keep streaming. Using LUFS meter and keeping the levels as suggested will give you less compressed products, and this will keep a lot more dynamics and more interesting tracks. So one trick that you could do if you have a lot of songs on your mastering project is to use the matching tools into the EQ of Ozone. I like to use the 6 dB guide, which gives you that curve, and this is what the software will aim to when creating the EQ curve. So we're gonna listen to a bit of the song. Devious stairs in my direction. My mother surely is a... And we're gonna click on capture. Devious stairs in my direction.
Mama, this surely is a dream. Mama, it's a dream.
Okay, even before using the EQ, I heard that on the very high end we could add some high frequencies. It was a bit muddy in the low end, and you see that's exactly what the software did suggest. You can modify it, of course, and here you can lower the smoothing, which will be a bit more drastic into the curve, and change the amount if you want, but usually around 10%, the default gives good results, so I'm gonna keep it like that. So let's listen before and after.
Mama, this surely is a dream. Mama, it's a dream.
Okay, the next suggested tool is dynamics. Here the maximizer is a final leveler, so I'm gonna remove it. And why not doing our final levels right away?
Mama, this surely is a dream. Mama, it's a dream.
Yeah, that's not bad. What I did is use the 1-to-1, so the plugin will keep the levels the same while doing the work, so you can compare before and after, and you can even hear the artifacts that the compression makes. So that's an interesting thing. Okay, we're going back to Ozone. For the dynamic tools, this is a multiband compressor. So what I like to do is to link all the bands and show all the bands there. And using the mid-side function. The mid-side function, what it does is it separates the center part of the sound from the sides of the sound, and you can affect both separately. So we're gonna listen to it, and what I like to do is barely touch the frequencies and just have a tiny bit of control. And I'm gonna even lower the attack, so it'll be smoother. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing with the sides. And 30.
Surely is a dream.
And while mastering, there's a lot of people ask how to make your song wider and take more space and be more dense. I am talking about density here, not dancing. And one trick that we can do is to push the side gain to achieve a wider mix or master, of course. So let's listen and add a few dB.
Mama, this surely is a dream.
Okay, we're gonna listen to before and after.
This surely is a dream. Mama, it's a dream.
After the multiband compressor, what I like to do is put a general compressor And listening to the song, I think I'm gonna go with the Vantage tools, so the Vantage compressor. And again, I will barely touch the signal, just to give it a bit of control. And of course, the Vantage tools here have their own sound. They emulate Vantage physical units. So let's listen.
Devious days in my direction. My mother surely is a dream. My love is a dream.
So you see it's barely touching the signal. Next step, we can use the exciter. The exciter will emulate again analog gear. And what I like about it, it adds a bit of density to the mix, what we were talking about before.
Devious days in my direction. My mother surely is a dream. My love is a dream.
Okay, before.
Devious days in my direction. My mother surely is a dream. My love is a dream.
And another thing we can add is maybe a tape simulator.
Devious days in my direction. My mother surely is a dream.
Okay, again, before.
Devious days in my direction. My mother surely is a dream. My love is a dream.
And we're checking the levels. Minus 13.5 LUFS is good. So that's about it. We're gonna listen to it before and after the all mastering. So let's try. Yeah, I'm gonna remove everything from the master channel.
Devious days in my direction. My mother surely is a dream. My stuff is a dream. Hanging around downtown by myself, and I've had too much caffeine, too much caffeine, too much.
So you heard the difference. I'm gonna stop now. Of course, what you should do is compare your mastering to other commercial recording of the same style of music. That's one thing that we didn't do here because of copyrights problems that YouTube often do. I hope you liked this video. Of course, you should know that I'm not a mastering engineer. I'm more of a recording and mixing type of engineer. If I would need a better room, better converters, and better gear. So, and of course, the experience too. But I wanted to show what mastering is about and explain it. I hope that you will give me some links to your mastering of that song so we can exchange about it. And of course, you can debate any choices I made while doing so. It'll be my pleasure to learn with you. And if you liked it, please click on like, consider subscribing, hit the bell to get notification, and share my videos. It's always a great help for the channel.